Darin, welcome to the show. You have a company called BombBomb. I think of BombBomb, bonbons, whatever. I know they're vastly different, but talk to me about BombBomb. How did you grow that from $0 to $20 million?
Thanks, David. It's fun to be here. Thank you. Yeah, we've gotten a lot of either flack about that name over the years or curiosity, I think. But yeah, BombBomb. We were serial entrepreneurs back in the day, and back in the early 2000s, a lot of people were collecting URLs. Just a quick story, and we got this URL BombBomb, and we didn't have a business to put to it. But when we had this concept about what BombBomb does today, we're like, we're going to use the BombBomb URL for this, to have a catchy name for it. So we started in 2006, which is super early for what we do, which is, and we help people use video to connect more face-to-face, human to human. And we were salespeople, sales and marketers, my business partner, Connor and I. And we just thought it'd be better if we could be face-to-face more often, because we knew we were better face-to-face than over, text, email was the big thing of that time, or even on the phone. And so we wanted to create a way we could send ourselves, and cobbled that together as a kind of a prototype, sent it to some customers. And no one wanted to hear what we wanted to meet with them about, but everyone wanted to understand how we did that. So we thought maybe this could be a business that we should get into. And this is early, man. This is like before YouTube was privately held. There was not a camera in the iPhone. iPhone was Gen 1. And so we thought, man, this is pretty cool. Video email was the original kind of concept. But really the problem we were solving is how to scale one-to-one meeting, but scale like human emotion and what we thought were our strengths as salespeople. So that's kind of how it got going. And we didn't know anything about building software. And so we fortunately met a guy who did know about that. And he helped us build kind of a development team. And I didn't quit my day job until 2011. I was in broadcast media at the time, running sales teams and content teams for their websites. So I quit my day job, got full-time with BombBomb. I was dialing for every, dollar back then myself, and Connor was doing the support. I mean, it was really grassroots, bootstrap. Venture capital was there, but it was not as prevalent as it is today, nor was this idea of, going to school for entrepreneurship. That was not a thing then. So we were just really bootstrapping and hustling, and slowly, I think the market calls us cockroaches and not unicorns, because we just grind all the way to this point.
You could never be extinct. You live through anything, like nuclear blast.
You're living through extinction. Yeah. And so we're still privately held. We've never taken any kind of capital. We have one financial partner, but it's very, very small and strategic in nature. They're great.
So for the people that haven't looked at your BombBomb site, talk to me about what was that thing you sent to clients, back in 2006, where they went, wow, I want that. What was that? And where is it today?
It's so interesting. The concept that of the first video is really a concept we really talk about today. And it was just one of gratitude. It was Connor who did it. He was my business partner. He was, hi, I'm Connor McCluskey. I just want to take this time to thank you for your business. And if there's anything I can do for you, call me in my personal line. And he points below to his contact information. That was it. But that message right there, it broke through everything because it had gratitude, sincerity, and it had feeling. And look, humans connect with this stuff. Text, emails, text, all these things. They don't have feeling. If they do, we kind of annotate our own feeling onto them. Maybe how I'm feeling right now gets put on when I'm reading and interpreting it that way. And so I think it was interesting. That was the deal. It was gratitude. Thanks for your business. Simple message, but made people love it. But I want to do that, right? They got that I'm seeing a human being, and that communication is different than text or even maybe voicemail or phone or anything else that was available or even available still today.
Interesting.
Does that make sense?
And so where is it today? Because, being an entrepreneur, being someone who also does some biz dev, yep. I'm thinking to myself, how could I use this? And thinking,
oh,
maybe that would get this person to respond.
Thing, right?
Yeah.
That's a novel idea.
Yeah. I'm thinking maybe I get this person to respond who hasn't been responsive.
Absolutely. I think I think we're being trained moreover than any other time to ignore. And I'll maybe frame this problem I think that we're solving today is that I call it digital pollution. So when I get off this call with you, David, right, I will have LinkedIn stuff. I'll have email. Someone will attempt to sell me an extended warranty on my vehicle on my phone. I'll be inundated in this time that we're together. We got to silence our phones. We got to shut it down because it's ding, 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 ding. And I think I've been calling that digital pollution. It's just nonstop. And now I don't know what you think about this, but I no longer believe that those are really people doing that. Really, it's a lot of automation, right? And it's kind of like this fake thing. And so I don't believe it's really David emailing me or David calling me or David sending me that LinkedIn. I think that you're using software to do that. So it's easier for me, frankly, just to ignore it. Right? I don't have any problem ignoring automated software. I think I have a problem, probably more of a problem, ignoring people. And, just like you, maybe you said in the beginning, we'll just get to know each other a bit. Imagine what you'd say if you bumped into someone at maybe an event, maybe a cocktail party or a dinner event. How would you introduce yourself and how would that be different? And what characteristics or abilities would you have at your disposal if you were face-to-face? And I think that's what we try and do at BombBomb is enable you to bring that to bear. And I really believe it's more about the experience you're giving your client or potential client than it is, getting a response. Because I think a lot of people think about video and like a trick to get responses. It does do that. But back to the original idea, it makes you feel a certain way about the company. I don't think there's a lot of things that can really make you feel something about a business, except for the people that work in that business. And so I want to enable those people to shine. I think we hire salespeople because of their abilities. And now we're putting them behind machines and automation. And we kind of, handcuff them with what I believe are some of their best abilities. So, and that might be true also for customer success people and everyone in the org.
So walk me through the process that, if I'm going to create a BombBomb, send a BombBomb to someone, what is that process? What does that look like? And how long is it? Because if you're going to send me a 2-minute BombBomb, I really don't want to listen to it. I don't want to look at it.
Yeah. That question is the question we get asked the most. How long should it be? And I'll get there because there's a 2-piece answer to that. But it's quick. We make it quick and easy to send video. I mean, your phone, you can send video, right? I mean, that's easy. But sometimes those videos are super big. So we encode that and we make that easy for the recipient to receive and engage and respond. So we spend a lot more time in our business thinking about the recipient experience, your customer's experience with your message than we do your experience with our software. Because we believe what you're trying to do is create an experience for you and your business on the other end. So, how can they engage with it? Can they react to it in a different way than just replying to it? So we have a lot of functionality around that, but it's quick and easy. We have a Chrome extension. We have lots of different places where we can put our software. So in Gmail and Outlook and Salesforce and a lot of different softwares. But for our Chrome extension, you just click the icon, click the red button. Hey, David, what's going on? Darin Dawson. I just want to introduce myself, put a face with a name. Hope you're doing well. I can't wait to connect on the podcast in a couple of weeks. Thank you so much for your time. See ya. I mean, that's it. But what I just did there, you could argue, well, why don't you just do it in an email? Because you just met me, and that's different than meeting me over email, I believe. And so that's kind of the process. Hit send. And now I know, though, when you open it, that you played it. You can like the video. You can heart the video. You can reply right within the context of the video. I can put a call to action in the video if I want. I can record my screen if I want. So there's a lot of different functionality that we bring to bear that's quick because, frankly, it's not quick to do it on your phone, text it, send it. It could be, but I might not know what your experience was on the other side. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense. It also appeals to me because, like, somebody who has said, yes, I want this service. So in other words, we work with a few attorneys and they put out compliance training on wage and hour. for state of California, because state of California has very punitive HR laws. Basically, the employer is guilty until proven innocent. And so we've taken their content and put it into a training system, and it's all online. Train the employee, they take an exam, they have to score 100%. They have to sign it that they understand things, they're going to abide by it. And then it has like an accountability system built in. So people get checked once a quarter, little 3-minute, 5-minute quick quiz saying, yes, I still understand everything and I'm abiding by it. Boom, boom. So all this documentation builds that there's good rapport between the employee and the manager and the company, that they're abiding by the policies. And that's all great. But people get busy, and it's something else for them to do. So they say, yeah, I want to do that. And then they don't do anything. So I'm just thinking, I got like 2 or 3 people that have said, I want to do this. And now they've gone kind of dark. And it might be better to just get to them with a 10 or 15 second video. It says, hey, this is Dave. We talked a while ago. We did the demo. You haven't done anything. And, and then give them something of value that's going to make them want to call back.
Yep, that's right. Back to your question about time, you kind of just mentioned it there. It is really related to the relationship you have with the recipient. So, and it, dependent also on the content you're trying to provide and the value you might be trying to provide. So as an example, in that case, you're right. It's 15 seconds, but kind of harder to ignore David's face than it is just another text something in my inbox somewhere, right? And then, but if that were maybe a proposal delivery, there might be some more detail that you want to go through. So you might be delivering a proposal to an executive about that process, and you might want to go into some more detail. That might be 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes, 3-minute video, but the context and the content are at a value high enough that they'll watch it, right? I think another one is I do a video to the entire company every Friday. In this world of COVID where we're all remote, we weren't. We used to do an all hands every Friday. We had lunch together. It was great. Can't do that anymore. How do I stay connected? I send a video to everybody. That's more than average, an 8-minute video. I'm updating them on the week, on the quarter, different things going on. I might interview another person on the team, try and stay connected. That's a longer video, right? So if it's a customer success person reaching out to a client, that might be a longer video too, depending on how we're resolving the customer issue. And
let me stay with that all hands meeting again. So you do an 8-minute thing approximately once a week, kind of updates them on state of the company. Do you also then have a follow-up, virtual meeting where everybody's there? So you've kind of given the things that everybody needs to hear.
Yep.
And then let's get together in a half an hour, or whatever. Do you do a follow-up? So there's also the interactive piece?
What I do is a lot where I put that video is in a Slack channel. It's specifically for this, and there's interactivity there. We do about once a month a meeting on a Zoom call where everybody's there. But again, this is what we like to do, is just keep everybody up to speed and in context of what's going on in the business. Where we used to do this, we used to have lunch together every Friday. We would have lunch together. And it was a big room, and like we have this giant area, and everybody come in, we buy lunch. Well, we can't do that anymore. So there's a replacement for that. I like it because it can be shorter than that. It's less formal than that. And it just creates great context, and people like being up to speed, like to say congratulations, welcome new people to the business. That's the other thing that COVID changed. I used to go up and I'd shake their hand, say, I'm glad you're here. Now I send personal videos to them. I also shout them out in that video. Congratulations on achievement, things like that. Like, it's just more personal and they can see me. And I think it helps retention in a time where people could be more poached, frankly, because I'm not as connected to them. Right.
Yeah. I don't, I'm just going to be candid because it's like we're kind of talking here and it just met. I don't know whether that appeals to me as much. I do really like the short ones that kind of come across. And are used for a follow-up or more of a personal note or that type of thing that are short. Now, I am kind of type A. Okay. So I am,
I'm extremely type A.
So I am moving fast, But I do kind of like the approach that, let's say it's 9:00 at night and I realize tomorrow is, John's birthday or Susie's birthday, who's on my team.
You got it.
I can do a quick little happy birthday. Hey, I'm thinking about you. And I can click to send it. And, maybe I'm even timing it so it's not going out at 9:00 at night. It's going to go out, the following morning. But that gives them a personal thing. And maybe I'm closing it with, hey, hope you have a wonderful birthday. And, if you want to touch base, if there's, you want to do your birthday wish, you can ask me for anything on your birthday. I may not say yes, but you can ask me for anything. Go ahead and call me. That type of voice inflection, movement, my face, I cannot get that across any other way but video. So you guys coming up with this idea in 2006, you were way ahead of the curve.
Thanks. Yeah, we just believe the whole concept that we kind of distill it down to, we call it human-centered communication. Like, if it would be better said face-to-face, you might want to send a video. If it'd be better if we were face-to-face, like that example you just gave is a perfect example of something that feels better face-to-face, because people get the emotion. The nonverbal translates far more than the verbal in that experience, right? And so how does that make them feel? It makes you feel great, makes the other person feel great. I think whenever there's gratitude involved, it's almost always great to send a video. I think one of the other places I do this is if, as the salespeople transact, that comes across me, and Salesforce just tells me when that happens, and then I'll send that new customer a welcome to BombBomb and just thank you for your business and want to introduce myself. If there's anything I can ever do for you, please don't hesitate to reach out. So I do that for customers, and it just gives them a feeling like, well, this company's different than other companies we work with, right?
Yeah. Now another thing that occurs to me. So it's all great when things are positive. So there's no real liability unless you do something stupid, where you cross a boundary, sexual harassment, whatever, blah, blah, blah. However, let's talk about the bad stuff. So let's talk about JoJo makes a mistake and something blows up. I got a customer calling me, getting angry at me. So I have some options. I can email, I can text, I can do some other form of text, Slack, instant messaging, whatever. I can phone the person, but maybe as a thoughtful way to approach it is I could do a little quick video and just say, hey, JoJo, look, I want to let you know, so-and-so just called. They're really upset at what happened with the implementation. Boom, boom, boom. I know I don't have all the details and I'm on your side, but we got to find a way to resolve this thing. So will you please get prepared? Let me know when you want to talk, and let's try to get together in the next hour to jump on this. I can't do that via text.
Right. I would love to tell you that that's never happened in my company, but it has. It absolutely has. And you bring up, this is a great example. I can think of that customer, and it's a very large one. And it was something to do with a new team implementation, something of that order that got to me. And I knew like that's what was required. Like I needed to send him a video. And let me back up one and ask you this question though. Do you ever think in social media or in email, people say things that they wouldn't otherwise say if they were in front of you? Do you think that?
Well, it's gotten toxic today.
It's gotten crazy.
It's gotten ridiculous. People feel they can say whatever they want in any way they want, using any expletives they want. But they even harassment or racist stuff. I mean,
if they were standing in front of you, I don't think they would say it, right?
Most of them would not. Yeah. Or at least they tone it down a bit. I agree.
Yeah. And I think one of the best ways to diffuse some situations is you can send a video with sincerity and they can see that you're sincere. And so that's what I did. I said, hey, listen, I want you to know I'm all over this. This just got to me. This is unacceptable. I'm doing everything I can on this side to make sure we rectify it as fast as we can. If it's okay with you, I'm going to give you a call in about 20 minutes so we can talk about this. So when you get that scathing email, fire it up. You want to diffuse that a little bit. You come in with tone that is sincere and calm. And I am on this. We are going to take care of this. You're important to me. That works. I can tell you without a doubt that diffuses it. brings people to the table. You can do that with several executives at the same time or several people at the same time. I am on it. We're taking care of it. We're addressing it. This is unacceptable. You are right in what you said. It's very good use case. And I'm glad you brought it up.
Yeah. And I think it's really important because we teach in Dave's Charm School a lot of soft skills. And one of the things is workplace drama. Yep. And we talk about, we're actually about to do a small animated episode on it. It's our next one that's planned on anger. And, it really, when you're going to go on video, we can think of BombBomb, we can think, oh, this is all going to be wonderful. But it comes back to your soft skills. You got to be able to control yourself.
That's right.
And then project what you want to project. And one of the things that you just alluded to with, people will say anything, is that so many people right now are believing the lie of going for the dopamine rush.
Mm-hmm.
If I say this mean thing, it's going to feel good, type of thing. I'm going to get them. They're wrong, And that's, we forget a teaching, and Danny Silk does this really well. He teaches it. You choose the relationship first.
That's right.
And that's what you're talking about in how you're reacting to your people, or excuse me, it's not reacting, it's responding. Reacting is instinctive. Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm good.
Our number one core value at BombBomb is relationships. And it's because we believe that is the fundamental idea around what we're doing, that we believe that people matter. They have intrinsic value, that the human-to-human connection is unique and that it should be cherished and preserved. And so we want to enable that and have it done at a new level. My goal personally is to make something like this as natural to the process of business as a phone is or as email is, because it should be a part of the DNA of people, how they experience a company. If that's important to you, customer experience, your people are your best experience, I believe. We hired them for that reason. We hired them to go into these boardrooms or to interact with people at events. But again, we kind of, even now more than ever, because of the pandemic, we kind of put them behind a wall, and it can be a virtual one, where they don't get that interaction like we could possibly provide.
Yeah. So BombBomb, if you behave like Donald Trump, or some of these other people, Trump is just well known. Okay.
Easy.
And
Easy
he makes himself easy as an example here. And I think it's really sad because I think a lot of his policies were actually very good of his administration, but his behavior was so foul. Mm-hmm. So often, and has some other character issues potentially there. Well, not potentially, he does. But it just was. So if you can't control yourself, BombBomb's not for you. But if you can, and really what I'm getting from you, Darin, if you have some real sincere desire to help people and you like people, like Darin, I catch it, you like me, I just like people. Yeah. And it's clear you do too.
Yeah.
So if you do something, and I didn't expect to talk about your product this much, but BombBomb's a great little tool for you because also I'm also, see, I want to do, I'm like you, I've got a lot of scars on my back from mistakes.
Right.
Okay. So I'm thinking, well, okay, I'm going to make this BombBomb. Well, if I'm understanding you correctly, what I could do is I could make a BombBomb. I could either let it sit for 5 minutes or an hour and then review it and see whether I still, did I do that okay?
Yeah.
Or I could shoot it over to someone I trust.
Yeah.
And say, hey, I want to send this to so-and-so. What do you think? Did I miss anything? And
you might do that anyway, right? You might do that depending on the level of importance. You might say, hey, check this email out that I'm about to send it. Anything you would change about that?
Right.
You might do that. And it's the same, but I do believe that message will come across better. And by the way, you can talk faster than you can type. And even if you did type, imagine if you typed a minute video, the transcription of it is huge. You can just communicate a lot more fluidly face to face through your voice, and you can, writing it out. You can.
Well, usually, and the other thing I really like about the BombBomb process is particularly in bad situations. So in bad situations, I'm showing the person respect. I'm showing I trust them. I'm showing them I care them, but I'm saying, here's an alert. We had this issue. I care about you. Will you please give it some thought before we talk about it? instead of calling them up and saying, what the blank happened here?
Get into the heat of the moment. Because again, I'm removed from you. So, this is just this. And I think that changes things. We respond differently when it's sitting down. Having a sit down maybe is a great older expression of this, that because we know when we're face to face, we respect each other's empathy. There's a lot of these human connection things that happen that can't happen, frankly, if you don't see the other person.
Yeah. And it's almost a best practice thing where I'm getting myself composed and I'm going to make this message or I record this message. Not only am I giving that person 5 minutes, 20 minutes, an hour, or whatever before we talk, I'm giving myself that time too.
Mm-hmm.
To calm down, to put myself in their situation.
Think about it. Let's round up. Let's talk to our folks. What's going on? Right. What's our response going to be?
Yeah. So I'm teeing up something that's much better. And also my experience, I don't know about you, Darin, my experience is that when the other parties in this conversation that's difficult feel safe, that they're not going to get whacked, that I'm going to have a much more productive conversation than if I go in there and they're going to say something and they're going to get jumped on, verbally jumped on. I don't mean physically.
Yeah,
so it's a win-win all the way around.
Yep. That's good. That's fun.
Yeah. No, I love it. So now I'm going to have to look into your product more. But so talk to me about it. One of the big problems everybody has is, okay, you went from $0 to $20 million. And what you've alluded was this wasn't an overnight success. So
that's right.
What were the key things you did that enabled your organization to build into $20 million of recurring revenue and you must have a high retention rate to have achieved that?
We do, in two places. I think maybe you're referring to customers, but I would attribute that success, and as we're growing now, past that, to our team and the retention of that team. I think we get in this mode where maybe we think we're supposed to churn. I think people talk about this, like we're supposed to churn the whole team. I don't know about that. I think I've been fortunate to work with a team of executives now, and my leadership team, there's 12 of them for an average of 3.5 years. So, and some of them 6. And that we've done a lot of these things together. And so that was a big deal, like getting people around me that had the skills that I didn't, and knowing that and letting them win. Right. And not being a controlling type A, but trying to step back and knowing enough about myself to know where I was weak and to put people in where I was weak and vice versa. And so that is one of the biggest, I look back that I thank God for these people on my team that helped me get to this place.
So I totally agree with you, and I could stay on the people side, but I want to go to the money side.
Okay. Yeah.
So what really helped you drive that revenue? Because a lot of times entrepreneurs, and quite frankly, I'm looking in the mirror when I say this, can get so comfortable or so enamored with developing something that we don't focus enough on the revenue side, and the revenue doesn't develop enough. Right. And then money's over. You got to go in another direction or whatever it might be. So how'd you do that?
I'll get tactical on that a little bit. I think if you're an entrepreneur and you're just starting your business, or even if you're a little bit farther down the road, I think I see this a lot. Now, if you're not taking venture capital, or maybe they've said no to you, I think a lot of businesses fail that are great ideas because those people aren't able to live below their means. Maybe this is a thing I see a lot of. How much money are you paying yourself, or can you sustain to get the thing going? This was a big lesson for me. I drove a Toyota Camry for 11 years. Okay. Just as an example. And I took a 50% pay cut from my corporate job, and I was able to do that. And I made my living standards able to do that. I think a lot of times people aren't willing to, or willing to sacrifice that to get there. So that's just a personal advice that I like to give people who are starting out. Are you able to live below your standards to achieve greater success? Dave Ramsey calls it live like no one else so you can live like no one else. And I don't know that everyone, my co-founder, he drove a Honda Civic to the point where I'm like, dude, you got to get a different car. You're going to get killed. Like we were getting successful. I'm like, no, it's time. We're going right now to buy a new car because I can't, the liability is too high. Okay. So, but we didn't care about what we looked like because we were trying to live like no one else and trying to build a business. Okay. And we paid other people way more than we ever got paid for a long time to achieve this. So, but we didn't have venture capital and so we were bootstrapped and we just had to do it. And I think that was a big way we made it. So that was one.
I think that's really, I want to hear the second one, but I just want to emphasize to the audience, that is a huge one. And there's two things I'd like to add to it. One is this delaying gratification is the opposite of all the media messages you get.
Thank you, David. Yes.
It is the opposite. And so you have to be prepared. I am going to do this because for me, I'm going to invest in the long term instead of in the short term. And notice what Darin said, my dear audience. He said they paid other people more than themselves.
For a long time.
For a long time. They had the equity. Okay?
That's right.
And because they had the equity, they're like, hey, we can do this type of thing. The other thing I'd like to remind you, the reason America still can come back from where we are today, we are in the dumps today in so many ways. We're not going there. But the reason we can come back is just in part, not mainly, but in part, because what Darin's saying is because today I know in cities where I have lived, there are 8 Latinos living in a studio or a 1-bedroom apartment, saving their money, working hard. They are living a part of the American dream, working hard and sending money home and building a better future for their families.
They're sacrificing for their family. They blow my mind. I have so much respect for their tenacity towards what they're trying to achieve for themselves and often their families. It's a greater purpose, you know?
It is. And we get so caught up with, let's go get the dopamine rush off our phone or spending money. The dopamine rush of spending money makes us feel like we're in control. Oh, wait a minute. I got $10,000 worked up on my credit card. How did that happen? Well, I thought I was in control, but I wasn't in control. Anyway, so the first thing is, you're saying you have to be willing to sacrifice if you're really going to grow. We're not saying you go broke or you don't eat or take care of yourself, but you live at a minimum. Yeah. And then what's the next one? Yeah.
I still live in the same house when I started this company. Same house.
All right. Well, you and Sam Walton, right? Sam Walton drove the same pickup truck.
I was raised blue collar, man. I'm from Michigan. My family's like that. And I want to be able to make an impact in the world. I can't do that if I'm spending every dollar I make. And as I make more money, I just spend it all. Just good advice. Like if you're not able to do that, I think that's why we never had to go get venture capital too. So we were able to, I think, to do things that no one was willing to do, even though they were offering it to us, but it was for too much equity because we were too small, right? Like, so there's always that balance of how much of my business am I going to give up to get something that if I would be humble and try and lower myself maybe to what my peers are doing for the time being, to succeed later in life, to live like no one else, live like no one else. So you can live like no one else. I love that from Dave Ramsey. Yeah. Here's one more, David. I think, and I use this a lot in our leadership meetings. Whenever you talk to consultants, as I was coming up, they'd say, well, and I would tell them something that we wanted to do. And they say, well, that's not scalable. Or how is that scalable? How is that going to scale? Which is a valid question. And it should be asked. But sometimes I think we lose some entrepreneurial stuff when we just at face value remove something because it's not scalable. So I said this morning to a CMO, I said, look, sometimes you got to do the unscalable to find out if it's scalable. So I picked up the phone, I made the sales calls to make a process to hand that to who would be the salesperson eventually, or I took the support calls to figure out. I think entrepreneurs naturally solve problems. Get in the trenches. I've done every job. I can tell you this. I've done every job on the revenue side of the house, sales, CS, marketing. I haven't written code. It's probably the only thing I haven't done at BombBomb. But I can empathize with you. I understand the job. And I think that wasn't scalable, of course. No, me making the phone calls and doing all that stuff. But I wanted to understand it so I could help iterate the process and design something that could scale. Or say definitively, yeah, you're right, that can't scale. But I think often through limited experience, we just say that's not scalable. And I think it's dangerous, frankly.
Well, and I think just even beyond the scalability factor, just really understanding your business. And so you do need to delegate. You can't micromanage.
Absolutely.
But one of my favorite movies, not because it's just incredibly engaging, but because it's based on a true story and it's an interesting one, is Brubaker. It was a movie with Robert Redford years ago where he was going to take over a corrupt prison in the South. And he went into the prison as an inmate. And nobody knew it except one guy at the prison. And it gave him the real view of what was going on in the prison. And so it's that type of thing. I always love that, where you see, I think Chick-fil-A does that with their leaders. I forget how often it is, but they actually go work at a franchise for a day.
Right. They have to. Yeah.
Yeah. It's required because you got to be, boots on the ground. You got to see what's actually happening. And so I think that's great.
And when you're starting, I did think it's valuable. And today I would tell you, I was in a one-on-one with my CMO. He's telling me something that he wants to do, and I don't think it's scalable. I don't. But I said,
role reversal.
Yeah, right. And I said, but I know this. I know that sometimes you got to do stuff that's not scalable to figure out the solution to the problem. I think because what I think he's going to figure out with what he wants to do is ultimately a better way of doing it. Right. And so they're just the pain and the going deep on the spreadsheet, like there is fruit there. I just don't, and my advice would be to your question, don't miss it. And sometimes we just no, I'm going to delegate that. Sometimes you got to drill in, be careful. Just, you'll figure that out along the way. But some things I like to get dirty in because as entrepreneurs can solve that differently than other people. That's what I think.
Fabulous. Okay. Well, where do people go to learn more about you and BombBomb, Darin?
You bet. So BombBomb.com, easiest place to figure out BombBomb. Me, I'm on LinkedIn, so you can find me there. Send me a note first. Don't just send me a pitch message. better send me a video is what I really like. But yeah, I'd love to connect with people there. I connected with a gentleman today with the Do Good website. I watched this podcast. I thought he was an amazing guy. I gotta look it up again. But I sent him a message saying what I really liked about what he said to you. And so I like that. Let's build more human connections. So I mean, hit me up on LinkedIn. I'd love to know more about you. But that's the easiest place to find me.
Hey, fabulous. Thanks for joining me today. It's been a great podcast. I feel like we could keep talking for a few more hours. So
thanks, David. I agree, man. It's good to meet you too.